The Common Good Radio Show. The Common Good Radio Show. Brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. Highlighting the good in the community. Hosted by Pastor John McClain, Tucson's favorite family show.
What do you think about that, Mimi?
I love it.
Yeah, good. Nice. This is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain with that very Veteran Rescue Mission, the Homeless Veteran Transition Program on the northwest part of town. Definitely go to veteranrescuemission.org to donate or be part of our work. I have with me one of my favorite guest co-hosts in the whole wide world, Mrs. Kiki Rogers with Country Financial and Kiki's Best Friends.
Hello, John.
Yeah.
So great to be back.
It's great to have you here.
I feel like I was just on.
I know, just like last week.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it. So I am here. Actually, before we do that part, we got a great show for you today, a lot of great guests, but this would not be the Common Good Radio Show if I did not give grace to a very loving God that makes it all possible for us to be here and to be able to do the cool stuff that we get to do. And I like to thank him with the Lord's Prayer that goes a little something like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I have definitely one of my favorite people, easily top 15. Easily top 15.
I'll have to work on that.
Yeah, right, you get there. It takes time, you know. I'm married. I got 7 kids. Like, there's a lot of people in my life, you know.
I don't want to know what my number is.
You're up there. You're right above Mimi's, you know. Yeah. So, but Mimi is, I had the good pleasure of meeting her, just like a lot of my cool friends, through the Arizona Sands Club, and she was one of the people that inspires me, because she works for an organization called We Care Tucson that does some amazing work, you know, with getting medical supplies and getting technology to people that may not have access to them readily otherwise, or sometimes may be at a deficiency of those medical supplies, particularly consonants products and things of that nature. So I say all that to say thank you for being here, Mimi.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I guess for those who haven't heard you before, live under a rock, hadn't heard you on the Common Good Radio Show before, what is We Care Tucson? Just a kind of quick overview.
We Care Tucson, our mission is to remove the barriers to health, wellness, and information and education. And we do that by taking and use technology, restoring what we can. We sell it at low cost in a showroom that is open to everyone. But we also have a low-cost computer referral program for those that can't even afford to buy it in the showroom. Nice. We also give free medical supplies, and we are a loan chest for medical equipment.
That's cool. That's awesome. And yeah, and like I preluded with, they do some amazing stuff. Hence why we decided to partner with them for a golf tournament, which I'll let Mimi actually explain it all, because she's kind of the mastermind behind this all, and I'm happy to do my part. But the name and all that other information and the good stuff.
Well, let's give credit to Kiki, who came up with our name.
Brilliant. Big brain.
Tee Up Tucson to support and team up to support We Care Tucson and Veterans Rescue Mission. It is a golf tournament on May 23rd, nice. And it's a 4-person scramble. It'll start at 8 o'clock, and we would love sponsors. So anybody listening that's looking to help 2 wonderful organizations who are partnering together, come be a sponsor. You can put a foursome together. Maybe you don't have a foursome to play with. You can sign up as an individual, and we'll find some people to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was super cool. I mean, I feel honored, one, to partner with you guys in general. You know, you guys have definitely been big supporters of the show for so long, and it's been such a blessing to have you on. But you just came off the pickleball tournament that was a smashing success. So I definitely look forward to taking. No pun intended there. I look forward to taking that experience into this golf tournament. I've already seen it. I mean, your organizational skills have been dynamite. Like if we were in the military, I would happily follow you into war. But so also outside of the golf tournament, you have another big event coming up.
Yes, on April 13th, which is a Saturday, it's going to be from 10 to 3. We're doing our Tech Fest, Bridging the Digital Divides. It is a free family event open to everyone in our community at our site, 3029 North Stone. We're going to have all kinds of things, from a gaming truck for the kids to play in, food trucks, a chance to learn about cybersecurity for parents to be safe and understand. You know, when you have kids and adults who don't have access to the technology, they also don't understand how to keep the kids safe once they get that technology. So we're offering classes in that. We're going to talk to the kids on digital art, and also recycled art. There's going to be so much going on.
That's cool. And so the date, time, how people can connect with that?
April 13th from 10 to 3. It is free. You can go to our website. It's up there, wecaretucson.org.
Okay, awesome. And then you brought a special guest in studio with you today.
I did.
Yeah.
You know, it's about who we help. And I brought Cole, who was a volunteer for us through Goodwill Industries, and now he works for us.
Nice.
And he had a great story that when he started, I didn't know he had gotten a laptop from us before he even came to work for us. And he was homeless at one point, but I'm going to let you tell his story. I'm going to let him tell his story.
Yeah, please. And we had Cole on Kiki's Best Friend just right before our show. And if you want to speak to him or us or anybody, call 520-790-2040. But yeah, Cole, please.
Yeah, basically, like, I had a lot of years on the, being in the system and growing up inside group homes and foster homes, and turning 18 years old, I kind of, I transitioned into being on the streets and being homeless, and it was a real struggle for a while there, and getting the first agency to actually go towards their low-cost referral program, it kind of got me a computer so that I could transition and getting into back to school. And I was living in transitional living at the time, and I tell you, I didn't know anything about a computer. I barely know how to turn it on, let alone boot an operating system. And ever since I got that computer and then going to One Stop Career Center, it kind of got me into IT certification training. And they placed me at We Care Tucson, and I barely knew that it was the place that got me my first laptop. And then when I figured it out, I was just, it's coincidental. And I volunteered there for about 9 months, working in the back, repairing and refurbishing computers. And it's really got me a hands-on experience. And it's one of the reasons I've got my certifications. And, even to this day, working in the tech industry and actually being able to get hands-on with it, it's a real pleasure.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's for me, it's such an empathetic story, because that's how I got into the ministry I do now, in some capacity, where there was somebody who was helping feed the homeless, and I was homeless at the time, so I went there to get fed, and eventually that pastor asked me if I wanted to help in that program, so I volunteered to help others feed, and in that I learned how to help others. So that's kind of cool how that, it seems like that same connection happened with you, where it's just like, it started with you just reaching out, getting that help, humbling yourself, getting that help, and then taking that help and following it through to being at a place where now you're helping other people.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like, my girl was a veteran. She was former Marine Corps, snipers and logistics, and she didn't really get help, For so many years we were homeless, she didn't think that she deserved the help, and I pushed her to go to the VA, and eventually they got us on HUD-VASH and actually got us into a place. So, her being my inspiration and We Care being my inspiration, it helped me a lot.
Nice. That's awesome.
And now you got quite a growing family, and it was such a great honor to hear more about your story. Share again how you got connected to start volunteering at We Care Tucson.
I started at One Stop Career Center, and I went there to try to get a scholarship to go back into school, and they got me the Workforce Development Program scholarship, and got me into CompTIA Security and CompTIA A+, and I started going back to school with that laptop that I got from We Care, and at the time they had told me that the WEX program was offering, people to go actually get hands-on experience, and they assigned me to We Care Tucson back last year in March, And ever since then, I kind of I rolled with it, and it got me a lot of hands-on experience with it. I didn't know computers 2 years ago, and now I'm a whiz in it, you can say.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Cool. I appreciate it, brother. So, Mimi, tell people listening how they can plug in and how they can get help if they want to plug in with We Care Tucson.
Well, you can visit our website, wecaretucson.org. But for most people that don't have tech, that's not a way to go. So you can call us at 520-514-1588 or just stop in the store. We're at 3029 North Stone, which is just south of Fort Lowell.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mimi.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
I love being here.
This is Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McLean, here with Kiki Rogers with Country Financial and Kiki's Best Friends Radio Show. I want to also thank our sponsors, as always, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, Kiki Rogers, Country Financial, Gap Ministries, Seton Photography, JDB Media, Center for Self-Care, We Care Tucson, Action Print and Copy, 100 Plus Guys Who Give, Sonoran Senior Solutions, Crossroads Coaching, Desert Sunset Realty, Synergistic Self, White Stallion Ranch, Bukowski Law Firm, PLC, Kiki's Best Friends Radio Show, The Guys Next Door Radio Show, The Tucson Tasty Show, and Awakening's Mind, LLC. We'll be back right after this break. Yeah, I like it. I think we'll keep it for sure. Tom, I think next segment, let's go back to the old intro, but I like that for now. Yeah, give me a nod, Tom, please.
He's like changing it up.
just for the segment, just for that segment. But yeah, that was fun. This is the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McLean, here with Kiki Rogers with Country Financial and Kiki's Best Friends Radio Show every Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on 1030 The Voice. We also have another guest co-host, Mr. Jose Oliver with AwakeningMinds.LLC.com. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you, John.
And you got your Spanglish t-shirt on, so you came ready.
Yes.
And we got a
very special guest.
As I promised, as always, we have another amazing guest on the show with Miss Maggie with Sonoran Senior Solutions. And again, another kind of Arizona Sands Club friend that I met. And since we met, we definitely hit it off because we're both in the business of helping people. And ever since we met, we're like, okay, how can I help you help? And how can you help me help? We're just kind of been plugged in, and it's been super cool because regularly or periodically, Maggie will call me and ask, like, okay, what do I do in this situation?
Absolutely. I want to say thank you for the work you do, because you do a lot for the veterans in Tucson, and you are especially helpful recently with a family that I've been working with and with a veteran. And it was a really sensitive situation.
Well, let's speak to it. I mean, as much as you can. I know we got,
confidentiality.
You got HIPAA and all the other fun stuff, but just, in regards to, one, that place you're at when you reached out, kind of that conversation we had, and then how it's played out.
Yeah. Since we spoke, I was able to find a really good community that is supportive for my client. And he's happy. He's happy. He loves it. I've received a few photos from him of his view from his little patio, telling me that it's everything that he could hope for. And
he seems super happy when we met him. But let's just kind of like fill the listeners in on what made you think to even reach out to me in the first place, and then how that conversation went.
I had my first conversation with him after I'd been speaking with the family for a few days. And I finally spoke with my client directly, and I realized just immediately that it was a tough situation, and I needed to really have, I guess, a lot of sensitivity with the way I was handling it. And I think I called you right when I got off the phone with him. And I thought, I know, I could just tell that he would do better talking, or do well, I guess, with the support of or talking to a veteran. And so I reached out to you, and you gave me some pointers and some tips, and I guess maybe what you would do, when you're working with other veterans directly. And I was able to give him your information and let him know that you're available if he needs, I guess, to talk to somebody, or wants maybe somebody that has other resources that I don't know about.
Which seemed to be enough, because last week I bump into you guys at the Arizona Sands Club for lunch.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful to see. I mean, I was actually kind of taken back because where we left the conversation, like you really didn't know how that was going to play out, really.
Right.
But whatever you did, it worked.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
it was with your with your support.
I'm
so
happy
thank
to help.
you.
Yeah. So I guess kind of a question that most people probably want to know is like, how do we know? With my parent, my grandparent, like particularly, I got 96-year-old grandparents and that live in Georgia, and right now my family just realized, okay, it's time to get them that assistance. How do families know?
How do they know it's time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a good question.
Mm.
And it's I think everybody that is getting close to this or close to this point in life wonders, like, how do I know it's time to look into assisted living or memory care? And there are definitely some major factors that are helpful to assess that. But number one is cognitive ability.
Okay.
Like, is your family member calling you repeatedly?
And my
not
grandpa calls me 6 times a day. That's wild to
and
say
is he
that.
saying the same thing over and over?
Yeah. Same
Or-
conversation, just over and over
Yeah.
again.
Is he
Mhm.
forgetting like really major conversations that you've had? That kind of thing.
Interesting. No, he remembers everything, but definitely, yeah. Okay, go on, please.
Fixating on topics that, like finance, things that become overwhelming.
Interesting.
And so then it's hard to. It's usually topics that can be really frustrating or hard to have a hold of. So it turns into like hyper focus. Another is, and this is really people that are maybe seeing their loved one in person, but are you noticing more frustration around the afternoon, maybe 4 p.m.?
Interesting.
It's
We call
similar
it
to
sundowning.
Yep. Yeah.
Sundowning, yeah.
Just
Interesting.
just like when you have kids,
Mhm.
they also around 4 p.m. get really difficult. But same thing happens with memory
Interesting.
problems. And of course, obviously hallucinating, maybe talking to family members that are deceased, that are no longer around. That's a big one. If you're worried that your loved one is going to wander out of your house, go on a walk, get lost, not know how to get home, that's a really big one, especially here where it's, frequently over 100 degrees in the summer. It's a big safety concern.
Yeah.
Meals, like, are you having to remind your loved one that it's time to eat? They might be forgetting that they're hungry or just not able to to realize that they're hungry. And that's something that not everybody knows that happens with people with Alzheimer's, dementias. They're not able to recognize their hunger cues at a certain point. Medication management, of course. Do you need to go and organize everything? Are you having to call and give them reminders? And that's, of course, really dangerous. It can cause hospitalization and
it's all good stuff.
Yep.
Man.
So, Mickey, what are some of the services that you provide then to help them go through that transition?
The biggest thing I do is I help match people with assisted living based on what their care needs are. And that might seem like it's really not a big part of it, but it is. There are so many different factors to consider and to look at. And just narrowing down, I guess, the number of options is really it's time consuming, to look at all the options. But then aside from that, I can help connect my families with moving companies, like senior specific movers, downsizing. I guess you name it, I can connect you with it.
Well, I see Jose over there has a whole bunch of notes.
yeah.
So what do you got on your mind, Jose?
I'm just learning, John. I'm just learning, taking my notes. I see, success leaves clues. But at the same time, what we are learning today is the characteristics of, when we are in trouble. So I'm taking here my notes and I'm learning. I hope I don't go through that at any point in time. But it's also important to acknowledge that we are in that stage, or somebody close to us, a good friend, a family member is close to that characteristics, and then give a call to the experts, right? And I need help. Can somebody give me an expert advice on this.
And I want to point out, you don't have to be ready to move, to call me. And I love talking to families when they're planning, just planning or looking at options for the future, because it's a lot easier to do it that way than when your loved one is in a hospital and you're having to make these choices, really big life choices, when you're being told that your loved one can't go home and live independently safely any longer. It's a lot easier to do it beforehand.
What is one of the biggest misnomers people have about assisted living and memory care units?
I think one of the biggest that I run into frequently is whether or not a loved one needs to go right to memory care. I recently was working with a family, and this has happened kind of regularly, but I'll get a call saying, I need memory care. I need memory care for my wife right now. She was diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's. And just because you have a diagnosis doesn't mean that you need to go to memory care. And there's a lot of kind of in-betweens, even being in independent living for some people that are in the beginning stages might be all you need, because you have a more supportive community, you have meal times, you can join clubs, so that might work really well for some people. And not on top of that, it's a lot more affordable.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, when people think of senior living or that part of people's lives, they think it's so, black and white. You're either in a senior home or you're at your house by yourself.
Right.
But there's so much variance in between, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, people do think, and I think a lot of people also go right to assuming that it's all like, nursing homes of our past, but it's not. There's such a huge array of options, and a lot of them are very resort-like, or just, the purpose of a lot of the independent living options is just to have a community around you. Yeah. And it feels more like just being in like a resort, or a busy condo setting.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of them. Even seeing your videos, I'm like, I want to live there. So, yeah.
I have my list of the places I'd like to live.
For sure. Yeah, I got it ready in your will.
I'm ready. Yeah.
So, for people who want to get a hold of you and plug in, what does that look like?
You can call me, you can text me, or email. And my telephone is 520-954-1739. You can email me at Maggie@SonoranSeniorSolutions.com.
Awesome.
I'm so glad to have you, Maggie.
Yeah, yeah.
This is such a great service.
Say her name again.
Maggie.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you.
I don't hear it. I don't know.
It's like the bag. It's like the bag. The bag, the Meg.
Maggie.
Maggie. So, yeah, this is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain here with my favorite Minnesota person, Kiki Rogers with Country Financial with Kiki's Best Friend Radio Show every Sunday at 1:30. Also over there in the corner, but not because he's a bad boy, we got Jose Oliver with Awakening Minds LLC. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, John.
Absolutely. And thank you, Maggie, for joining us with Sonoran Senior Solutions.
Thanks for having
as always.
me.
And definitely, if you haven't joined us Wednesday at the Arizona Sands Club, every Wednesday at 9, we have a Common Good Media Group networking event that is, a Common Good supporter appreciation event, as well as a good place to plug in with other business owners and stakeholders to get a complimentary breakfast, as well as network and discuss a variety of things. Go to commongoodmediagroup.com. Hello, you. Look at you with your cute little button nose. I see you. This is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain here with Kiki Rogers with Country Financial. Also, the lady who let me be her co-host on the Kiki's Best Friend Radio Show every Sunday at 1:30. I thank you for that.
It's always a fun time.
Yeah, it is a great time. Yeah. And then today we have a guest co-host, a special little gentleman sitting in the corner with his Spanglish shirt on, looking all handsome, Mr. Jose Oliver with Awakening Minds, LLC.com. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Gracias por invitarme.
Thank you for inviting me. And I guess real quick, for people who don't know what Awakening Minds is, fill them in real quick.
Oh, very simple. We help organizations to grow by building people up. Let's keep it simple. We help leaders to grow leaders.
Awesome. Thank you for being here again, brother. And we have another Arizona Sands Club friend. This is like the Arizona Sands Club friend day
I
for
love
sure.
it.
And as soon as I met her, one, I loved her pizzazz. Just to start, love your pizzazz. And two, it was really awesome what she does. I mean, not only just the work that she does, but the way she does it and how it's almost like she's trying to break trends, because not too often do women do what she does.
I was going to say, it's the she does it. She really does do it, and you don't hear a lot of women in this in this profession.
And she owns it.
Yeah.
And I love that about her. And she being Celia Webb with actually I should read it because I will mess it up. Always Faithful Home Inspections. So yeah, thank you for being here with us.
Yes, John, thank you for having me. I love being here with you guys. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. So for people who've never, and actually you're brand new to our audience, so for our audience who've never heard of Always Faithful Home Inspections before, what is Always Faithful Home Inspections?
So we serve a wide area all over southern Arizona, and we provide the services for not only buyers but also sellers, or even people who are just living in their home and they had a problem with a leak or anything like that, because we offer a lot of services that may not be readily visible for the common eye.
Nice. And so why is it so important, not to skip the inspection on a house you're buying, even if, it's just a remodel home or even if it's a new build?
Yes, I did go through this during the pandemic because the market was just crazy, as we all know, and there were a lot of people skipping them and then coming up with, there were problems. So with our inspection, we can look at different things like electrical problems. Sometimes we can find sewer roots or breaks in the sewer that are not visible, but we have a camera for that. We have found mold in places where the house wasn't even going to sell, but they had a leak and then there was mold growing. Not everybody who is going to buy a home gets on the roof, but we can go up on the roof and see if there's any broken tiles. Or sometimes if they don't want to crawl under the house, we look at the insulation breaks in the crawl space. New homes, they're getting a bad rep. It's still not a bad idea to get a new home, but definitely have it inspected, and not by their inspector, but a third party, because there have been some that I did that the gas was not even connected to the furnace and they wanted them to close that day. Like, no, maybe you want to have heat at some point. Or sometimes the sewer is not even connected to the county line, and you can't see that. You can't find that unless you put a camera down there. We also have found low amperage in old homes. Before, with not so much technology, they could get away with 60 amps. That might not be enough. Then you might want to know that before you have it, And I also found a house recently that had a foundation crack. It was a 50s home, and the foundation cracked after it was remodeled. Even the poor people that put it on the market did not know the foundation cracked.
It's wild. So, your son didn't get away with anything, did he?
No.
You find out every clue.
Yeah.
So when someone is buying a home and they skip an inspection, is there any recourse? Can they go back after they signed, or is it buyer beware without that inspection?
I believe, I try to stay in my lane, but I believe that goes with the documents that they need to sign. I do inspections for all kinds of people, for people who have a family that are buying a house that they're going to live in, and people that are going to flip it. So I have done houses that don't even have wiring, and the water is not even on because the plumbing isn't done. So sometimes they have to sign a document that says, I'm buying it as is, I assume all responsibility. But if you're going to live in the house, it's important that you find everything that you need to know about it. But I think that would go back to either the seller or the agent. I'm not really versed in this, so I'm sorry.
No, but that answers really well. I mean, the importance of that inspection up front, because you don't know what you might be signing off on, and then discover that you're in a great deal of, cost to fix your house up after you purchased it.
For sure. Yes, I did a house that had a lot of water damage, but when I was on the roof, there wasn't a problem. And the problem was that there were polybutylene pipes that had leaked all over. So one thing is to re-roof a house, and another one to repipe the whole thing. And there was mold and there was termites. Yes, there's a lot of things that don't necessarily have one cause, but several.
Okay.
I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking, Celia, how long does it take to get an inspection on a home?
How long it takes? It really depends on the state of the home. The more write-ups, the more violations, the longer it takes. I have done a 3,000 square foot house in 3 hours, and I have done a 1,500 square foot house in 4 hours. It depends on how many problems there are, because I don't only point at the bad things, I also take pictures of everything, even if it's good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because things can happen in between the time I'm there and the time that the person buys it, and we want to make sure that we document everything.
I don't ask this question because you're female, because I think anybody should be able to do whatever job they want, but what made you think to get into this industry that usually isn't a female-dominated industry?
Yes, I was very friends with the guy that owned the company, and I was doing flips a few years ago, and it was very stressful. And he said, let's do flips together. So we did some deals, and he started getting very busy. And I'm like, hey, can you come do this inspection to see if this is a good house for us to invest in as a flip? He's like, you're really busy, so how about you do the schooling and then you can inspect the house on your own? I thought, okay. And he actually paid for my schooling. I'm very thankful for him. And when I finished my schooling, I did the test. I passed on my first try, and that's when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So I closed my former business, and I started working for him right away.
Good for you. And
yes.
you are the one that was up there on the roofs doing the inspections yourself.
Yes.
I love watching you on social media because you'll post pictures
and
videos that are always fun to watch. How can people tap into your social media and watch more?
Yes, I post a lot on my personal, because this is who I am. I'm an open book. So I post a lot there. Sometimes I tag my business, but for some reason the business doesn't get as much traction. I could post the exact same thing. But you can find me under my name, Celia Webb, and my Facebook page is Always Faithful Home Inspection.
Nice.
Wonderful.
And I guess we could probably have a couple more minutes we jump out of here. Tell us about some of either the horror stories or a success story that you had in doing an inspection.
Horror stories. I talked about this one on a podcast, and I still have nightmares about it.
Okay.
I did a fourplex on a Friday afternoon. I was exhausted that day, but I did a fourplex. I had another inspector with me. It took us forever to do because these houses had leaks that were coming from the roof because the swamp coolers were leaking. There was mold. There was termites everywhere. The windows were broken. Some didn't work. There was no air conditioner. The furnaces didn't work. I could not believe it was legal to have people living there. It was scary. I mean, there was this one instance where I asked the lady, I'm switching this flip. I'm flipping the switch. How do you turn this light on? She's like, oh, right here. And she kicks the outlet underneath, and the light turns on. Like, what?
Yeah, that's scary.
There was so much in that place.
Nice. Man. So one more time, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you and how they can get an inspection.
Yes. So my website is alwaysfaithfulhomeinspection.com. There is a place there where you can book all of our services. There is a couple of drop-down menus. We serve a wide area in southern Arizona. So if you need one outside of town, please give us a call to the business number or my personal number. Either of them work.
Okay. And those numbers are?
Yes. My number is 520-349-5641. And my business number is 520-243-0385.
And the website one more time.
alwaysfaithfulhomeinspection.com.
Nice. Easy enough.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Celia, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. That's Celia with Always Faithful Home Inspections. Definitely check them out. I'm Pastor John with Veteran Rescue Mission and the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm here with Kiki Rogers with Country Financial and Kiki's Best Friends Radio Show, as well as Mr. Jose Oliver with Awakening Minds. That's at awakeningmindsllc.com. Definitely check it out. He has an event at the end of the month that we'll be talking about next segment a little bit. But you guys wash behind your ears and keep your feet clean, and we'll see you right after this break. And go to veteranrescuemission.org to donate or find out more about the show. Hey. Hello. Look at you there. What are you doing? Hey, sit down. Relax. Take it easy. You do so much. Relax. This is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McLean of the Very Veteran Rescue Mission, the Homeless Veteran Transition Program on the northwest part of town. If you are a homeless veteran or if you are a veteran, or you are someone who wants to help the veteran population, please give us a call, 329-9192, or go to veteranrescuemission.org so we can help you connect you with benefits. That's what we do. I'm so blessed to be able to do it. Also, if you want to ask myself or Kiki or Mr. Oliver a question, please give us a call at 790-2040. That's 790-2040. We are waiting for your call. And
that's exciting.
Nothing would make us happier than to hear your beautiful voice. And I have, as I mentioned, I have Kiki Rogers with Country Financial and Kiki's Best Friends radio show, the newest talk radio show. Actually, no, the second newest.
Now we have Guys Next Door with Ron Arena.
Sorry about that.
You're good. I'm so happy to have Ron part of the team.
I know,
it's
absolutely.
great.
And then we have Jose Oliver with Awakening Minds LLC.com here with us in studio. And real quick, I mentioned, I gave a little teaser. That's what we call on the radio biz. About the event that you have at the end of the month at the Arizona Sands Club, my favorite club in the whole entire world. Tell us about it.
Nice view, huh?
Nice
view that we have at the Sands Club.
The best.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we have an upcoming event. You said it right, February the 29th. So we have one more day this year. What best than, investing the day at the Sands Club. What we do, we have a leadership development event. We have speakers, keynote speakers such as John Maxwell, Kendra Scott.
That's huge.
Her jewelry. We can listen to, hear her story a little bit. Ryan Leake. His new book, Chasing Failure. Nice. It's an interesting title, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to be chasing failure? And Marcus Buckingham, who has been in this, investigation, if you will, of behavior at work and how it, how we can make it better.
Nice.
So those are our keynote speakers, and we are welcome to come.
And did you say what time on the 29th?
8 o'clock.
8 a.m.
8 to noon time.
So February 29th, 8 o'clock. Pretty much day-long event. Have some lunch. Have the amazing John Maxwell and a lot of other great people speaking. How can people sign up? How much?
Everything is awakeningmindsllc.com. And by the way, because we are just ending the week of Friends, St. Valentine's on February the 14th, we have a coupon code which is Friends.
Nice.
Friends.
Friends.
Plural. Friends.
Okay.
Friends. That's
and then you can get
Friends.
That is correct. 50% off.
Really?
50.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So just to make sure my
it should be birthday.
There you go. So 50% off. What we want to bring is enlightenment to people who want to, take and consider new options, if you will, to put it into practice in their organization. Awesome. By the way, organization could be home, could be family.
That's
it's
great.
not necessarily only organizations and companies.
Could be your group of friends.
Group of friends.
Yeah, that absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for inviting me, John.
And Kiki, we don't talk about it enough, but we kind of we skirt around and we touch on it. You're an insurance agent.
By day I am, and by Sundays I'm the host of Kiki's Best Friends radio show. So with my insurance, I say I help you prepare for the worst so you can live your best. And then with the radio show, we showcase stories of people who've been through the worst and now living their best.
Yeah. So what's I heard and I watched on the news.
There's a lot in the news
There's
right
a
now.
lot going on with insurance nationally, like some weird, funky stuff. Tell me about
The
it.
insurance industry right now is really hurting, and here's why. In 2023, we saw double number of storms, and we saw double the amount of damage those storms caused. And so that cost the insurance industry $269 billion in additional claims.
With a B.
Okay, billion dollars in 2023. And so the response to that has been increased rates and customers getting these lovely letters saying, by the way, you've been our customer for 15 years, but we are dropping you because you had a couple theft claims last year, or you had a water-related pipe claim at home. And so I have customers calling me left and right saying, what do I do? My old company's not going to let me stay with them anymore. And I've been able to help them out with Country Financial.
Nice. So one of my favorite things that you do, and it's certainly helped fill me in on a better understanding of liability and my responsibilities, not only to myself, but to my family and the community. And you've done that through Kiki's Keys. So what is this month's Kiki's Keys?
Well, Kiki's Keys are kind of 6 principles that I use to share with my clients, myself, and that are part of my book that I'm writing. And so Kiki's Key number 6, the final one, is you are blessed for being a blessing to others, so pay it forward. And I definitely believe that that's what, my spirituality is Christianity. I believe that that's what Jesus taught us to do, is to look out for others and care for others first. And when we do that, those blessings come back to us magnified.
And how do we apply that to insurance?
Well, I think it's important that you have your financial affairs in order and that you know where your money is going and what you are blessing in your life. To bless means to speak highly or to give highly to something else. And so I think it's really important that we start with Kiki's Key number 1, that everything is written down, and that I help people find out, where are you at financially? Where is your money, your energy, and your attention going on? And is that benefiting and blessing yourself and your family first? And then are you able to then use your excess money to bless others as well, and to give back to your church or to your synagogue or to your community?
Nice.
I have a question, John, if that's okay with you.
No, please.
So my mother was insurance agent for the longest as well. She was for more than 30 years. And one thing
now you're just bragging. I'm sorry.
Bless her heart. It's not easy being an insurance agent. I'll say that.
I know it is not. But one thing that you started your introducing yourself, Kiki, was you help people prepare for the worst so they can be their best. And but there is something that I want to make an emphasis on, is they gotta invest up front so that when it's down the road and the situation comes, they are ready to overcome those challenges.
Well, there's costs in life, and when we can prepare for those costs, we can plan ahead. When we can put a little bit aside today, it's not going to cost and hurt so much down the road. That's both with savings as well as making sure that you have insurance in place for the things that do matter to you, because you're either going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it later, but later is always more expensive.
Get out of my head, Kiki, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Particularly, it's a big thing that I've either learned or helped kind of better galvanize in my life working with you, is that exact idea of, I'm either going to invest now, I'm going to pay and get a 529 or get some type of Roth IRA or get, the insurance I need for my car, for my house, etc., life, or the time's going to come I'm going to need those things and I didn't get enough insurance, or I didn't get any insurance at all, and I'm going to have to pay then
absolutely
much greater price than I ever had to pay, just paying an extra $50, $100 a month to get those policies set up,
and making sure that your policies are set up correctly. You want your liability to exceed what your value is, not what your car value is. So if you got in an accident with someone and it was your fault, even if it wasn't intentional, let's say you had a mechanical breakdown, your car did something unexpected and it caused an accident, it's still going to be your fault at the end of the day. So you have to protect your assets, your income, your home, your savings with your liability limits. And most people set their limits at $25,000 thinking my car's not worth any more than $25,000 or $50,000. Well, it's not a matter of protecting your car, it's a matter of protecting yourself and your value.
Absolutely.
I have an old say to share. If you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
Absolutely. Yep. So I help you with that. We just look at, where are you at right now? What policies do you have in place? Are they meeting your needs? And if they are, great. I'd love taking a look at where you're at. And if not, and you need to make some sort of adjustment, we'll take a look at that together. But the most important thing is that we don't have to go about it alone. And I'm there to help my clients figure out what their needs are, what their options are. I'm not there to sell them something that isn't beneficial for them. And I think that's the difference between like an agent who's in it for the long haul as opposed to just an 1-800 number. Friends don't let friends buy insurance from 1-800 numbers. And I think
you should make a bumper sticker that says that.
I'm not the only one to say that, though.
Yeah.
But the other thing that makes Country special is we're not in high-risk areas. We don't take a lot of high-risk clients. So we're not in California, we're not in Texas, and we're not in Florida. So as we started out saying, the insurance industry is kind of losing their mind right now. The average rate increases are over 25% right now. Countries in 2023 remained at 12%. And so by reducing that risk, we're able to take care of our customers.
And how can people get a hold of you?
So give me a call at 837-0194. That's 520-837-0194, and I'd love to help you out.
Yeah, this is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McLean here with Kiki Rogers with Country Financial. Thank you, Kiki.
Thank
as
you
always.
so
And
much.
Kiki's Best Friends Radio Show every Sunday, 1:30 on 1030 The Voice, right here where you're listening. And then Jose Oliver.
Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you,
me.
sir.
That's
With
great.
AwakeningMindsLLC.com. Check him out. Check out his event on February 29th at 8 a.m. at the Arizona Sands Club. And then if you haven't been to VeteranRescueMission.org yet, please check it out. Go there to donate. Check out more about the shows. Also, the big thing we're asking for right now is used vehicles and electronics for the vets that we've got placed in the programs to get to their appointments and to get to jobs. So all that other fun stuff. But definitely, if you go to veteranrescuemission.org, you'll find a lot of different news videos and all kind of stuff about the stuff that we've done and ways that you can plug in. But we'll catch you next week. And remember, eat all your vegetables, do your prayers before bed, and say something nice to somebody cute.